probably claim copyright.
Reaction.
I can claim fair use.
Unless I start talking shit on Walt Disney.
Well,
That'll teach him for being dead since the 50s.
all I can say is, could you like tone down the Australianisms a little bit? Because I don't want
I don't know how to talk.
I want to get demonetized.
Oh, okay.
But
What?
yeah, no.
Think of the Australian audience you'll gain, though.
No, this is true. But yeah, no. This is Ward Kimball. He's one of Disney's 9 old men, and he's the director of this thing.
That sounds like the board of a patriarchy where it's like, why didn't you get the job, Mum? Oh, the 9 old men at Disney didn't allow me into the rocket room.
And yeah, if that's not corduroy, that is a pinstripe suit.
That is some serious pinstripe. Also, brave man to go with light brown and dark brown. And then also his like he hasn't put like the tie he's wearing and the shirt collar itself isn't really sitting in. I do feel a little bit bad for picking on a man who's back in the 50s, look like, trying to talk about rockets that, my mind can probably never comprehend with any kind of current learning.
It's okay. He's been dead for 18 years.
Wow, that is a lot less than I thought. Yeah, fair enough. Look, no ill will to the man, just that during this day he chose the wrong suit to wear to work.
How much do you want to bet that, based on the way he's looking, he came into work and literally Walt Disney goes, "We're filming a piece on for Tomorrowland. Wear this suit."
No. He walked into work. He didn't wear the suit, and he's gone. Oh yeah. Oh cool. Jam donuts for breakfast. Great. I love this. Thanks guys. And coffee. Oh, love it. Walt slams the door open and says, "I need someone to come," and he just splashes it all over himself. Walt says, Kimball, I need you to do a video. And he goes, I've just spilled. Here, wear this jacket I found in the closet. Let's go.
Well,
you can see he replaced the tie, and that's why the collar's fucked up.
Yeah, and well, the other thing is apparently he was a talented jazz trombonist, and he founded and led the 7-piece Dixieland band Firehouse 5+2.
Dixieland band hasn't aged well either.
No. To be fair, anything.
Yeah, Disney walks ice, and the only reason he is not ass deep in legal issues is because he's way dead and way rich.
I would have to say 90% of the stuff from the 50s has not aged well.
No, that's true.
The
polio vaccines aged well though.
Yeah, this is true. Oh yeah, he was. The best part is, you know what Kimball's claim to fame though is, and I think you'll like it.
Corduroy.
No, not corduroy. He was an animator on Der Führer's Face.
Was that their love poem to Adolf, or was that?
No, that was a thing they made an animator do. Yeah. He also was an animator on Victory Through Air Power.
Something that America never let go of, but yeah.
Yeah. He was the directing animator for Alice in Wonderland.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Man in Space and Man on the Moon. He was the writer and slash. He wrote this thing.
Oh God. Okay, let's get past the poor man's suit.
We got 47. We got 45.
We're 2 minutes in. And then we've got stuck on talking about this man's knockoff corduroy.
And that is whether we use chemical fuels or atomic energy. It will be
look
a
at his dick.
rocket-powered ship that will finally take man into space.
I
All
have
of
to
them
do
seem
this.
to agree upon, and that is whether we use chemical fuels or atomic energy. It will be a rocket power.
Right there.
Is that a V1? What the? No, what? That's a V2 with a fucking fins on it.
Yeah, because.
Oh no, that's right, paperclip. Yeah. God, I can't believe I forgot about Operation Paperclip. Yeah. My mind just went, paperclip's a thing.
But yeah.
Wow.
But the best part is, I'll get to it later because it's hilarious.
Is that a crossbow? What the fuck?
Take man into space. So, to set the stage for the part the rocket.
Oh, that's
will
right, the
play in
50s. We haven't.
coming
Yeah,
conquest of
okay.
Space,
I was about to say too late, but
searched back through history.
it looks like it's in the actual forest the V2 was, and they're just like, quick, stick some fins on the side and call it a spaceship.
No, it is. No, it is because.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because if you look at
Oh yeah, if it's already got the test bed, who cares?
Because also take a look at that. Those are Germans. Right down there.
Yeah, no, I know what you're pointing at.
Yeah.
All right.
And
God, I'm
traced
loving
the
it.
rocket and various space travel ideas from their earliest beginnings. The first thing we found out was that the rocket is not such a modern invention after all.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
In fact,
No.
its history began way back in the 13th
Oh.
century. It was in China
Oh.
at the Battle of Kai Feng Fu.
That's a real battle, by the way.
Yeah, I know it is, but
Yeah.
and now blackface. Oh no.
I know. It's just
Oh no.
A little over 500 years later, Sir
That'll
Isaac
teach them for being
Newton
different.
explained this phenomenon by saying, "For every action force, there is always an equal but opposite reaction force." Sir Isaac's statement can best be illustrated by showing what happens to our pet dog when he sneezes. For every action, there is an opposite but equal reaction. This same principle applies when we light an ordinary skyrocket. Action, reaction. However, gunpowder is not the only propellant that demonstrates the action-reaction law. There was a time when steam was seriously considered as a means of rocket propulsion. Typifying this idea was Charles Golightly's
Look at
aerial
that. She got some junk in the trunk. She may be a plain woman of England, but she doth have the big booty. Pirates come from here and yonder to see thine booty.
this entire reaction is just basically just gonna be me cracking up. I just like the like.
She looks like a snail. That's what it is.
Oh God.
Has he got a handbag?
Yeah.
A stylish man.
Well, that is Charles Golightly
Ah, right. Carry on.
and his aerial steam horse.
force.
Yeah.
Early inventors soon realized that steam rockets would be too heavy to fly, so they returned to designs utilizing gunpowder.
Which sounds less safe, to be honest.
These ideas
Sorry,
made many
I have to go- I
successful
just have to go back.
so
I just
they
have to go back
returned
for a
to
second.
designs utilizing gunpowder.
Is that a cannon just on the back?
Wait,
Has that man got like a
take
next one? Yeah. I was about to say he's getting his fucking he's getting measured.
No, it's holding him up.
Oh, that's so boring.
That's a mannequin, and that looks like a
Ah!
that looks like a bird.
Yeah. Oh, what works? I didn't even think that was a mannequin. Jesus.
These ideas made
Ah!
many successful flights.
Many successful flights.
On paper.
Oh, thank God. Oh, Jesus.
1965,
You paused at the wrong time. I assumed he was
the
correct.
imagination of the world with his first book on space travel. It was called From the Earth to the Moon.
Also, a really good HBO series.
Mr. Verne used a very interesting device in getting his heroes to the moon.
A mortar.
He shot them through space inside an enormous artillery projectile.
Died
It
from
was
the
Verne's
atmosphere.
story that inspired George Méliès to create the first space travel motion picture in 1902.
It's that flapping of Oh, I think I've seen snippets from this, yeah.
Yep. Same.
Oh, wow, this is...
This is old school.
Yeah.
Also, imagine how big that's a super gun there.
Like women with rifles? What the... Ah, it's France, never mind. He's different. Oh, that's right, the moon's got a face and it's creepy as shit.
The first man to associate space travel with the use of rocket power was Hermann Gonsfeld. His idea was to have the rocket pull the ship instead of push it. This conception was quite unique, but only an inventor's dream. However, a few decades later, a real milestone in rocket history was passed when the American professor Robert H. Goddard introduced a liquid fuel rocket. which used gasoline and liquid oxygen instead of gunpowder.
No,
The
that's
small
safer.
forerunner of our large
Yeah.
present-day rockets actually rose 60 feet into a wintry New England sky. These
Before being a-
experiments led to the founding
Yeah.
of the American Rocket Society to advance the science of rocket propulsion.
Wow, mustaches really have
Time, the German
like
professor
developed.
Hermann Oberth wrote, "Theoretically, there is no limit to the size of a rocket which uses liquid fuel." In 1929, Oberth designed a giant rocket ship for the Fritz Lang movie Frau im Mond.
The Girl in the Moon.
Yeah. No, thank you. I speak German.
Girl in the Moon.
Oh God, Jesus.
During the late 1920s and early
God,
30s,
we should just shut up until they finish the
era of
sentence.
Feverish activity among the rocket experimenters.
Oh God.
Almost every type
What
of
the?
vehicle was
Is that those volley guns just like strapped together? Wow. It really is like, oh, okay, Jesus.
rocket-powered airplane.
What year did he say this was?
32.
32, right.
Rocket-powered autos were fast, but presented quite a smoke problem.
Not if you're trying to hide.
There were railroad rockets and nautical rockets.
Dixie torpedo? Yep, okay. Wow.
Some
Ooh.
fired and some backfired.
Ooh, Jesus.
These
Oh,
early
no, what
attempts
the
met
fuck
with varying
going on?
degrees of success.
I'll stand behind this rocket. Get out of there! Get out of there! The guy's got no protect. Ocean would have a field day. Quick, pour petrol on
Meanwhile,
him.
in Germany, a group of serious-minded engineers founded a new society for space travel and succeeded in building rockets which finally reached an altitude of 1/2 mile. Soon after this,
What's
the
that in real
German
measurement?
Army established its own rocket program. The development of the first rocket missiles followed. This accelerated rocket program culminated in the creation of the forerunner of spaceships to come, the V-2.
Ahead of their time, weren't they?
Yeah.
Well, not that far, but
Yeah. Far enough.
yeah. Really. Jesus. Color footage too.
Yeah. For a weapon of war,
Elegant.
it is. You know, especially for a German weapon of war.
Well, I think German weapons are usually pretty elegant. Oh, except for that one. Yeah, I've seen that. That's
Even though there were a few mishaps, the V-2 emerged at the end of the Second World War as the most successful rocket yet devised by man.
yeah, because there was not many other contenders, were there?
Captured V-2s were brought to our rocket proving ground at White Sands, New Mexico in 1945.
New Mexico.
Interesting fact. Yes,
Okay.
they did bring 75 in. Do you know how many were capable of being launched?
Like 0?
5.
Right.
I think it was like 5 or 6. It was like literally like
Like-
a handful. Because what they found was some of them there was serious quality control problems with them.
Yeah. Well, they were still like a test bed type of thing. They're still fucking working it out, weren't they?
Yes, well, the development of the V2 is long and complicated and beyond the scope of this reaction.
Beyond the scope of most. Yeah.
I can't believe I'm actually pandering to my YouTube audience now at this point.
Do you have a YouTube? You have a YouTube audience?
I think I got like a half a dozen people. Plus I'm soon to have Twitch streamers. So
You hope.
yeah, I hope.
You're just gonna have that whole stream and no one's gonna watch you and go like, oh,
Yeah.
you're gonna feel so lonely.
No, but the ones that the Americans brought over, a lot of the wiring had been corroded.
Ah, yeah.
Um,
Space mice.
Actually, no. You know what happened?
Russians.
No. Jewish people. the Jewish the slave labor that
Oh,
they were
right,
using.
yeah.
What they would do,
Sorry, all I could think was like Jewish people sneaking in at night and just like
No.
nibbling on the
no,
wires.
the slave labor that was used to make the
Yeah,
later
yeah, yeah, yeah.
V2s, what they would do is because they couldn't actually physically damage the rockets because they would have
Yeah, yeah.
been eliminated.
Just the quality control hit the floor.
What they did was when the German
What the
when the German guards weren't looking, they just do zip.
Yeah.
Because they literally just piss on the electronics. And when the Americans got a hold of them, they're like, "This is useless. This is useless. This is useless. This is useless. Hey,
Yeah.
this might work."
Yeah. How did the Germans ever become a threat?
Let us continue.
Could you imagine if half their products weren't pissed on?
Here, exhaustive studies and test firings were made to aid us in mapping our own newly created
Yeah,
rocket
by the actual
program.
German scientists. But we don't mention that part.
German.
It wasn't long before the sands of
German in an American hat for the
the
picture.
roaring blast of the Viking, the Corporal,
Viking.
the Arrow Bee, and other American rockets.
Yeah.
V2.
Yeah. V2 with different shell, V2 with...
A longer V2.
Yeah. A stubbier V2, a wider V2. Yeah, there's a longer. Thunderbird 1.
Oh, there's a
You know, the great space items.
yeah. There's sorry, I need to point this out. There's a YouTube video somewhere that they took
Sure.
they took the accidents that happened in the 40s and the 50s of rockets and timed it to the 1812 overture.
I think I've seen that.
And honestly, I think that's a great. Like it's like okay. First of all, they managed to get a hold of all the footage, and then they
Or
timed
enough
it-
footage at least.
and enough footage, and you managed to time it to the 1812 overture. That's talent. But yes,
Yeah.
enough waffling. We still got 39 minutes to get through.
No one's gonna watch this. You're gonna have to edit this to the best bits moments. Oh, that did pretty well. Look at that.
Yeah.
Space flight. Ooh, multi-stage.
Dual.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's a pencil V2.
Yeah. For needlework bombardment. To cross-stitch the enemy targets. Ooh, nighttime.
Ooh.
Ooh. Okay.
Bow mark.
Yeah. No doubt about it. They really knew how to make smoke clouds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Screw the environment.
Yeah. It's our kid's problem.
A rocket firing is an awesome demonstration of tremendous power. I think we should find out how it works. One of the best authorities
Okay.
on this subject is the rocket historian Willie Lay. Here Mr. Lay explains
Yes,
the
he will.
operation of a rocket motor.
That's my
to some of
guess.
The artist working
Okay.
on the picture.
Wait, before he speaks, take a look at how do you imagine this man speaks?
In a German accent, but he says he's from, like, Nebraska or something.
Just
This is an actual propulsion unit from this strange-looking device is both the heart and muscle.
I worked at Auschwitz, but they gave me a job and NASA?
Have to burn oxygen from the surrounding atmosphere. But the high-altitude rocket motor has to work in
The guy on the left looks like he's CIA agent. Who's just like, if you fuck up,
to
you're
overcome
going back in the padded
this,
room.
a tank of liquid oxygen here. When burned with a fuel, in this case alcohol, it produces an intensely hot torch-like flame that would quickly melt the motor.
Motor.
However, we cool the motor by first circulating the alcohol fuel around it, until this fuel finally reaches the point where it is sprayed, along with the oxygen, into the combustion chamber. When this steady flow of alcohol and oxygen is ignited, it produces a continuous explosion which blasts the rocket away in the opposite direction. Here again we have action and reaction. If this motor is placed in a streamlined hull with suitable controls, it can
And a
reach
nice
high
warhead to hit Britain. I mean,
time.
Well, before you get any further, Willie Ley was never a Nazi.
sorry.
Willie Ley was never a Nazi.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
He actually.
I don't doubt. No, I don't believe. Yeah. No, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying the men knew how to hide.
Actually, yeah, he did. I'm reading his Wikipedia page. In January 1935, company used his own company's stationery to write a letter that authorized his vacation in London. Mm-hmm. Carrying only his favorite books, a few changes of clothing, and travel documentation, Ley fled Germany for Great Britain and ultimately the United States.
What year was this?
1935.
Okay.
So yeah,
I stand corrected then.
the V2 rocket motor. I cannot do a German accent.
That's alright. You're not German.
The V2 rocket motor only
Neither am I, so it doesn't matter.
5
Hold on.
seconds to a high
Sorry.
hull with suitable controls. It can
Control.
reach a high altitude in a very short time. The V2 rocket motor only operates 65 seconds to a height of 20 miles. But then the V2 has gathered so much speed that it will coast upward to an altitude of 114 miles before gravity begins to pull it back to Earth.
Damn, gravity.
Notice that the rocket does not
Bastard.
go over in the thin upper air, but it falls tail first until it re-enters the denser atmosphere, where the air, acting on the tail fins, turns the rocket nose down. Early in 1949 space history,
1949!
the nose of a V2 was a small rocket called the WAC Corporal. When the large V2 reached its maximum speed, the smaller rocket was ignited. This additional boost in speed enabled the WAC Corporal to set a
Whack.
high altitude record of 250 miles. This day marked the first time that a man-made object reached outer space. This was accomplished by using a double rocket, then secretly known as Project Bomber. However, we refer to it as a two-step or two-stage rocket.
Is it possible to build a three-stage rocket?
No!
As a
Shut
matter
up!
of fact, that's the next logical step. Here's the rocket I have designed.
Don't ever talk in this meeting again!
Stages. It would stand about 70 feet high, or a little taller than the old V2. Here you can see the three
Wow.
sections. Each one has
Yes, we can. They're all numbered.
I love how
If
everyone.
somebody will please make a sketch for me.
Yeah, the guy asked the question, yet there's a thing sitting across from you that's 1, 2, 3.
Good.
Now I've got the proof to make my idea.
In its launching position. The first great blast.
Thank God Walt Disney made these cartoons, otherwise we wouldn't know how rockets work.
Initial speed. The first section is cast off at 20 miles up.
Mhm.
At 45 miles, the second stage is released. The third
I-
stage now fires.
As a
until
man
it
who's
reaches
never
an altitude of
known
70 miles.
Imperial measurement, these distances are all just numbers to me, like 70, 45, yeah, okay. Is that good? Is that bad? Is that... what?
Its forward momentum would carry it straight out into space if it were not for the Earth's gravity.
It's gravity.
This downward pull of gravity bends the upward course of the rocket into a
God,
curved path.
Flat Earthers never have this problem when they fire rockets.
Going away from the Earth.
Yeah, they all die.
Yeah, they come back down with a tremendous force. But it's not gravity, it's something else.
Coasting in its curved path around the Earth indefinitely.
Mr. Lay, is there another way we can illustrate this?
Yes, let's explain it this way.
Yes, Mr. Disney.
If we were to move at a slower speed, the pull of gravity would soon overcome the
I love how he's like trying to teach kids.
Yeah, but these guys are assumably scientists of the same quality or caliber.
No,
At least close enough to him.
No, these are Disney animators.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, fuck.
Here. So, if we have our rocket go fast enough, it will eventually follow a curve
I shouldn't be laughing, but
of the Earth.
Yeah, he speaks 2 languages at least, and we're here like, he's so word funny.
That the rocket falls around the Earth, as long as it maintains sufficient speed.
But how does it maintain the speed of the motor?
The look on this man's face.
Yeah. Oh, my line to say something? Oh, card, line. Right, okay. But how does it maintain the speed if the motor is shut? The motor is shut off.
Remember, our rocket is traveling above the atmosphere, in space,
Sphere.
where there is no air friction to slow it down.
How fast does it have to go to stay up there?
Now that depends on how high we want the rocket to be as it circles the Earth. Let's use the altitude of...
I'm sorry, I had to point this out. Does he have a lazy eye? Or
I can't see anything under those glasses. I don't know who he's looking at. I just can't see past the glare. The studio lights are just deafening.
75 miles.
Hold on. So
He is really going hard with that chalk, by the way.
okay, so we're gonna convert miles to kilometers. Okay, just for this.
Okay, thank you.
Just
For the rest of the world.
Yeah, just for this. Yeah, for the rest of the world. Okay, so 1,075 miles translates to 1,730.0448 kilometers.
Right.
So basically,
Okay.
whenever they say miles, take it and multiply it by 1.6.
No, I won't.
Yeah.
I will expect them to accommodate real measurements when they do mathematical equations.
You
The dirty bastards.
You have to remember, this is America in the 50s.
Yeah, they're not accepting of anyone except Nazis.
The rocket will have to go nearly 16
And only Nazi
miles
scientists.
per hour.
And then maybe some others.
Okay, so
But only during the...
he said 16,000 miles an hour.
Mm.
That's 25,749 kilometers.
Complete trip around
That's
the
fucking
world
fast.
every 2 hours. A few adjustment in its course will be necessary, but this can be accomplished from the ground by remote control, after which the rocket
Control?
will continue to coast freely in space forever.
In other words, the rocket will stay up there just like the moon.
Yes, it will circle the globe.
Look at him reading the card in the background.
What is
He's
the
like,
purpose
yes, that is
of
the
having
right
a
sentence.
satellite up there?
Having this instrument-carrying rocket moving around the Earth will give us a lot of important information which we'll need before we dare let a man make his first trip into
Dare.
space.
Meanwhile, in Russia, send a dog! Fucking send the monkeys!
A mirror will focus the intense rays of the sun onto a silicon battery, converting solar energy into electricity. There will be a
Crazy!
camera to
If only that was sustainable.
as it appears from 1,075 miles up. We will collect very important data on the
If
effect
only
of
that-
mysterious
Ooh, Jesus.
cosmic rays.
I thought it was in a fucking... I thought it was... Oh, it is.
Of sand will be recorded.
I was about to say, it looks like it's in a firefight with tracers.
When the rocket moves over the North Pole, its radio will transmit a stream of data to a receiving station below. This will be the first outpost in man's conquest of space.
Unless those dirty commies get it. The threat of the commie!
One of the big question marks of future space travel will be man.
Wow, that is really not his
How
suit.
he will react mentally and physically to
That is really... Look how bad it fits him on his left hand.
Yeah.
That is not his jacket.
No.
Helping us illustrate
This is a rental.
is the scientist most
Yeah.
noted for his pioneering
Again,
work in
something
space
left in the
medicine.
coat closet when they're doing a swingers party.
Okay, so Dr. Heinz Haber. Okay, again,
German.
yes. Look at the man. Now imagine his voice. Okay, you got
Yeah.
you got that voice in your head.
It's ingrained.
When man steps into his rocket ship and leaves the Earth behind, he must be well equipped to survive in the hostile realm of outer space.
Yeah, it's not the voice I thought. I was thinking more German.
Yeah.
We have designed
Wow, that man doesn't need medicine, he needs a morgue.
a man just
He's
like
quite
you
dead.
and me. We will find out.
No, that's
what
not-
happened to
I don't know
him
who- that's not me.
space. In a way, he's going to be our space guinea pig. That makes him a brand new biological
Did
species.
he made himself a cigar
I think
Yeah.
we should
Well,
call him.
he's gonna need cancer medication in a fucking second.
Or Spaceman. Since he was picked at random, we cannot tell whether he will be able to tolerate the tremendous stresses to be placed
Just-
upon him.
Wow.
when the rocket ship
Look at
is
the
fired.
carefree attitude of the 50s. Yeah, exactly. I was about to say, he's just putting a pile of ash on the
He
floor.
rides in an automobile. When he steps on the accelerator, the car moves forward and he is gently pressed against the back of the seat. His body
Gently.
resists any change of motion. When he comes
I like
to
the
a
hat. Where do we get that technology
his
from? Oh,
body
okay, he's
tends to
dead.
move forward. On a test rocket sled, which is pushed forward at tremendous accelerations, the force of inertia is much stronger.
Flat man.
Yeah.
Ooh. Tall man.
We are all familiar with centrifugal force.
Are you?
Are we?
Just because it's taught in the
Thank you,
laboratory by using
because I don't remember agreeing to that.
These machines artificially create.
You remember when you did
Rushing
centrifugal force in kindergarten, you filthy normie? Don't watch this if you're just a regular kid.
Does this man have any bones in his body? Not anymore.
His body weight increases until he blacks out and finally loses consciousness.
And then we bring him back to normal size.
Then
From
he's
tests
dead.
like these, we have learned that man will have to assume a reclining position when his rocket takes off into space. In this attitude, the stresses will be more evenly distributed along his body. He will then be able to tolerate pressure.
That still sounds like a lot.
9 times his weight or more, as it occurs in a rising rocket. When the rocket engine finally stops, man will face his next big problem: weightlessness. Without support, he will be floating freely, drifting, tumbling, and twisting helplessly.
I love how he's also in his boxers and
Space,
socks.
man, a feather,
Like-
a bubble, or a piece of iron will have the same weight, or rather, no weight at all. However, man is designed to live with gravity, the downpulling force which Sir Isaac Newton first explained.
Now he's got a cigarette.
Attract each other with a force which is proportional to the product of their masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Or, what goes up must come down.
Loud alarm signals sound throughout the nervous system whenever we are in danger of falling or stumbling. But weightlessness is not such an unearthly experience. We become weightless for a short while in a dive, on a roller coaster, or in an elevator. But if we remove the support by cutting the cable, we produce the exact feeling of weightlessness in space. It will take hours
That sounds very dangerous.
waiting for
I
the
don't think I want this rocket program to work anymore.
We can only hope that man in space will eventually
You're certainly
get
putting a
used
rosy
to this
picture
feeling
of
falling
spaceflight, aren't you?
Yeah.
constantly, without
Do you want to become an
waiting
astronaut,
for
kid?
the
Get in an elevator. We'll cut the cord and you see how you last.
Man will probably have trouble orienting himself.
Am I gay?
Confusion
Am I
such as
straight? I
this
don't
is
understand.
nausea.
Ooh.
Some people may become victims of a serious form of space sickness.
Jesus.
Weightless man in space must
Space
learn
sickness.
to guide himself only with his eyes. Beginners can combat dizziness by fixing their eyes
Ah,
upon one
titties!
single object.
Well, he knows he's not gay anymore, or he's at least bisexual.
The spaceman must learn to move with utmost caution. His muscles are adjusted to normal earthbound gravity. In space, any casual action will be violently magnified. He must coordinate himself under an entirely...
This is like a Saw movie. They just put a man in some fucking science experiments and beat the crap out of him.
Constantly. When he crouches...
Then he's gonna get out and they're gonna pat him on the back and say, "Good job, spaceman. You've led this. You're a pioneer for all of us." And he'll have not a clue. He'll just have some broken bones and some bendy legs.
Man will be able to master
Poor
the
fucker.
art of swimming through the air within the rocket ship.
What? Yes, I want my mythical creatures mounted on my spaceship interior, so that when I go, my hippogriff can look at me majestically as I rode him finally into the final horizon. Yes. I want my bearskin rug on the floor so that the teeth can come loose. It's ridiculous. Ah, Batman. But wow,
For the
got
beginner,
crutches out of there.
a web of ropes might be provided.
Might be.
Learn that slow, relaxed,
Like the
careful
attention,
movements are
it like
essential.
it's a good idea. Still might not
He
happen.
encounters with the problems of weightlessness, he will no doubt try to normalize his life. Even the air he breathes will be weightless. Natural circulation of air does not exist, and there is danger of suffocating in one's own exhalations. Air must never be allowed to become stagnant in a spaceship. Circulation must be maintained by constant ventilation. Since all objects are also without weight in a coasting rocket ship, they must be safely secured by bolts and clamps. For handling large, bulky objects, man will have to anchor himself in some fashion. But as it takes force to overcome the object's inertia and set it in motion, it takes equally as much force to stop it once it is moving.
Look, I'm having a great time, if I'm being honest with you.
Owing to the protective layer of our atmosphere. But up there,
Yeah.
even the hull of the ship would not shield man against the possible hazards of the mysterious cosmic rays.
See,
These tiny bullets from the
This
infinity
prob-
space will continually penetrate every
this guy will go home after these experiments in a fucking shed in New Mexico somewhere,
most
and then in the
anesthetic
80s he'll be like, "What? That's what radiation could do to me."
shoot through the body. However, there are other bullets in space. It may be of
Like
still
sidearms of communist dogs who trying to invade your spaceship.
meteorites.
Oh.
These marauders of space travel at speeds
Marauders of space.
1,000
Ooh.
miles per hour. But if one should puncture the walls of the ship, our air supply would rapidly escape through the opening into the vacuum of outer space. Without protection, man could last not more than 15 seconds before losing consciousness. Also, in the intense radiation of the sun, he would soon broil on the one side and freeze on the other. In the void of space, he will have to wear a space suit. This specially designed
Wow,
outfit
that's actually pretty accurate to what they went with.
airtight unit carrying sufficient oxygen. Featuring
Why wear a
all-purpose equipment,
why wear a hat?
it will afford protection and maneuverability outside the ship.
That's the reason why you wear a hat.
Propulsion
Uh-huh.
will be by means of a small portable rocket unit. With proper manipulation of this jet device, even the most subtle movements can be made.
Ah, jihad!
Action, reaction.
Shut up, Sir Isaac.
Dining
Look at that face! You shut your bitch mouth!
presents new and surprising problems.
How will I shake a martini?
They will not pour. They must be transferred
Suck.
by titration tubes. This tube will contain the liquid until it is forced into the desired location.
Just drink it, it's a straw, man!
Unless liquids are kept in leak-proof containers, they will escape and float in ball shapes around the cabin, finally coating all surfaces with a wet film.
Oh. Just lick the walls, guy!
Plastic bottles will be used so that liquids can be squeezed out.
Yeah, suck that titty.
Food will be cooked in
That
closed
space nipple.
by radio.
They're putting space on everything else, why not?
By the way, they refer to microwave as radio frequency shortwave.
Sorry, you cut out.
They refer to microwaves as
Yeah.
radio frequency shortwave.
Ah! Yes, I can see how the name caught on.
Space etiquette will call for the extensive use
Etiquette.
of sugar tongs.
The excessive use. You know, when I watched the Dragon rocket go up, and the blokes were in their spacesuits and they had their sugar tongs ready.
Relieve the inevitable tensions of
it gets
space
better.
travel, we must provide suitable recreation. A game of three-dimensional pool could be particularly relaxing.
In what universe?
That again, did we not just see the experiment with punching holes in spacecraft?
Sleeping will be a new and unique experience.
Space put yourself in the Iron Maiden, son. Go to sleep. Get some hours of some torture sleep.
To prevent drifting in his sleep. How will man's subconscious mind react to his first experiences with space travel? Will he not suddenly be aware of his precarious situation?
Jesus.
Trapped in a tiny metal box, floating through the incomprehensible nothingness of space?
Like a submarine or a plane, yeah.
No.
Yeah, this is a Disney film, by the way.
Yeah, look, he's not wrong. We really don't know what it's like for long periods of time in space. Like, I'm talking decades.
And return to Earth safely.
We can guess, I imagine. Yeah, this bloke hasn't left fucking the shed.
Look at the smugness of Newton.
Yeah.
It's like
you know, if you had told me that was Weird Al Yankovic, I would believe you.
Will depend to a great degree on the research and findings of this.
They're gonna slap this bloke on the back. Here's your degree. Out the fuck you go outside the shed of New Mexico somewhere, and he'll walk home lost in the desert. Like, what the fuck are you doing here, old man? And he's like, I was in space, and they made me play pool, and a meteor hit me, and they're like, okay, he's so crazy.
The second, and no less important, is to prepare and train the men who are to fly the future rocket ships and to provide suitable working conditions that will enable them to survive in space. To help show you what is being done to solve these problems, we have called upon one of the foremost...
You can just you can imagine the guy in the background like, oh my god, he touched the model! Oh my god, he touched the model! Yep. You're not supposed to touch the model!
Okay, so this
yes, Werner von Braun.
Werner von Braun. Yeah. As the famous YouTube song is, he wasn't a Nazi. Have you heard that song?
No.
I will play it for you after this reaction. It is
okay, cool.
It is hilarious. But okay, so Dr. von Braun, okay? Giant,
please.
The giant in the American space program. He gave the Americans the Saturn V.
I know of von Braun, yes.
Yeah. Now imagine his voice. You're wrong.
I think I will be, yeah.
Werner von Braun, who is at present the chief of the Guided Missile Division of the Army's Rocket Center at Redstone Arsenal. He was also overall director of the development of the original V-2 rocket.
And no mention of him being a Nazi.
Well, he's not. Obviously, he's one of the good guys working for what will be NASA and the American Army.
Yes.
You know, they wouldn't let Nazis in there. They've just won a war to get rid of them all. It's crazy.
The training methods for future space flight and the special equipment needed for survival are much like those of present high-altitude flying. And the experiments we are making today are helping us to solve the more complex problems to come. Take the present-day pressurized flying suit.
That bad was rocking a bow tie.
For use at extremely high altitudes.
That man, his belt does not fit. Is that an actual person? That's a mannequin. I'll think, fuck. I was about to say, that man has a smouldering gaze, whatever it is.
That's being conducted at this time. This pressure suit is being worn in a test chamber where the air pressure can be dropped suddenly. Notice that the water boils at this low pressure, even though it is only at normal body temperature.
That guy isn't even wearing gloves. His wrists must be blasted.
In other tests, without the suit, where the drop in air pressure is less severe, we see that the body still reacts violently to a sudden decrease in pressure. Lieutenant Colonel John P. Stapp of the United States Air Force has subjected himself to the tremendous forces of a rocket sled that reaches a speed of over 632 miles per hour. The sled stops so quickly that Colonel Stapp's body becomes 35 times heavier than normal. From these tests, we have learned that man can take much greater acceleration forces than crew members of a rocket ship will undergo on a takeoff.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
Today's aircraft are so fast and so
What kind of hazard pay did that man get?
He didn't.
The crews on the ground without
Really?
Yeah, no.
All in the goal of capitalism and beating the dirty commies into the space.
Apparently, what he did was he did the first couple of tests by himself. Like didn't even get the higher ups permission to do it. He just went ahead and did it.
Jeez.
And then they realized.
I mean, that's the shit pioneers are made of. But at the same time, fuck me, dude.
Yeah.
This is done with a device called a flight simulator.
A flight simulator. I'm surprised they didn't have air quotes on it. Shit.
The crews of future rocket ships will train much the same way. We will use a simulator on a centrifuge and employ an astrosphere to train the celestial navigators for our coming space flight.
Celestial navigators. That someone saw this and put that in a book.
Orbital rocket ship. Compared to the unmanned instrument rocket, it is quite large. But the overall size
Understatement of the decade there, Doctor.
Yeah.
Determined by the 11 tons weight of this top section. This weight dictates the amount of fuel and the numbers of motors needed to produce enough power to equalize the gravitational pull of the Earth. The payload.
I like the chart in the background that no one's mentioned yet, but is obviously going to be important soon. And it's just got this one guy zoned out, like him. We want him. None of these other guys. Him.
Must ultimately return the men to the Earth safely. To produce the energy needed to hurl this stage into the orbit, we need these three.
Meanwhile, Walt Disney's recording this, just Werner, me and him go way back. We were at the Olympics and we did all that stuff in Germany together. You know what? I don't know Warner.
And the motors of each section. The first stage carries 1,060 tons of fuel, and its 29 motors will lift the entire weight of the ship vertically off the ground.
Yep.
The second stage has 8 motors and carries 155 tons of fuel.
That doesn't look like 8, but I'm not a scientist apparently.
Reached 14,300 miles per hour. The next is our third stage, with only 1 rocket motor and 13 tons of fuel. The third stage gives the passenger section the final kick to attain the orbit. It will not be separated from the passenger section until just before the return flight. The third stage will be left in space, and a very small motor in the winged fourth stage will return the ship to the atmosphere so it can glide back to the base. If we were to start today on an organized and well-supported
Somebody off screen put that back on.
I believe a practical passenger rocket could be built and tested within 10 years. Of course, it would be foolish.
He looks like he's at a board meeting and he's looking at all the board members, but he keeps remembering there's a camera for the Disney thing that's going on, and every now and again he makes eye contact with the camera and he's like, "Oh shit, don't look at the camera."
Shit.
Let's illustrate this with the help of a few pictures. First, we would design and build the fourth stage, and then tow it into the air to test it as a glider. This would also allow the crews to practice. Next, low-altitude flights would be made, firing the small rocket motor in the fourth stage. This would also give the crew more and more training. Following that, the third and second stages would be constructed and tested very thoroughly on the ground, after which they would be joined to the passenger section so that faster and longer flights could be made, up to speeds of about 12,000 miles per hour. The only thing remaining would be the building and ground testing of the huge first stage. Then there would be no more test flights. When all the sections are joined together, the ship and its crew will be ready for man's first flight in space. Let's look ahead a few years and see how this might be accomplished.
Ah, good. Cartoons. That's something I can understand, finally.
Atoll of Coral Islands in the Pacific.
Possibly Coral Islands.
Just one cause, the conquest of space.
Oh, what a
Here
bold
below us,
statement.
A small city has been created to house the scientists, engineers, and technicians on whose shoulders rests the tremendous responsibility for this great adventure.
And then over here at the test bed, our Marines and spaceships ready to fight the alien menace and communist dirty hordes.
Okay, so I just figured you didn't want the... So, Werner here, and yes, I am using his first name because...
Ooh, bold of you.
Yes. So, this aired in 1956, okay?
Yeah, no shit, yeah.
And he said that... I think it's he's either said it or it's going to come later. He said that it's going to take about 10 years to get a man in space, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to know when the first man in space actually happened?
I do know when the first man in space happened.
When?
Shut up! Just don't call me out like that. It's not cool, man. Think of the internet. The YouTubes will now know I'm a fool.
Well, you're up.
I do know that it was pretty recent, but I don't know the exact year.
Yeah, 1961. So it took Werner said that it would take the Americans 10 years to get a man in space. It took the Russians 5.
Yeah.
But then, of course, I think they started a bit earlier.
They had better science. They had better Germans.
Debatable.
This is the rocket assembly
probably is.
With tracks running to the launching site.
Oh, I love this menacing voice, like
Only
the
48
rocket
hours
site.
remain until firing time.
Look at the broad-shouldered scientist boys. Fucking hell.
Firing site.
Firing site. This is the Saturday morning cartoon. If this is what that was what Disney would have done should this have never made it to the screen. This was just going to be a Saturday morning cartoon knockoff.
Look at those cars. Look at that.
I was about to say, what is that?
The elevator spar is raised into place for the final pre-flight check and fueling. This is the blockhouse, the control center for Operation Space Flight.
Is that a speaker? Is it radar? What is that?
Here, the oscilloscopes, radar scopes, computers, and tracking devices are the brain and nervous system for the rocket.
Better not put this on the rocket. They might need it.
Dancing patterns of light will record every detail of the blast-off and climb into space. In the windowless blockhouse, observation
Down periscope.
by periscope.
Enemy spaceship at 10 o'clock. Fire when ready. Launch torpedoes, goddammit! Who let the Submariner in again?
Will always be focused on the rocket as it orbits around the globe every 2 hours. The tracking radars report
Jesus,
ready
how fast are they
and is
going?
standing by. The optical tracking stations are poised and ready to follow the rocket in its upward flight.
You may fire when ready.
0 hour approaches. The painstaking work of the checkout crew continues. The ship and every piece of its equipment is being checked and rechecked.
Blockhouse, can you hear me? Can you give me that stage 2 separation signal again? Okay now, over. Swivel motor stage 3 to pitch right. Okay, now give me the left.
Attention all personnel. It is now X-2 hours. Fueling crew, take your stations.
They're the fucking Marines going up there ready to fucking fight the alien menace. The dirty space commies. Oh no, they're hazmat troopers.
The required quantity of fuel is preset. The pumps will deliver 1,230 tons of hydrogen.
Also, I love the idea that all the scientists and like technicians are like built fucking like peak physician men.
Yeah, and not nerds.
Like, yeah, not like regular people.
Yeah.
Their day job was like fucking bodybuilder assault troops, and then they just also happen to be really good at maths.
After years of
not even
preparation,
named
testing
numbers.
men and materials, this is the final.
So they don't have to rely on dental
Now
records.
Man will bet his life against the unknown dangers of space travel. Human reactions are not precise enough. Therefore, once the launching timer is started, the entire takeoff and flight into outer space will be controlled automatically.
X-2 minus 5 minutes. Clear the firing area.
Jesus
Clear
Christ.
the firing area.
X minus 90 seconds. X minus 30 seconds.
Can we just get a Challenger 2 event where it just fucking blows up on the fucking tarmac? This, it looks like Speed Racer.
X minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Get up there, son. Yeah. Oh, look at it go.
And the clock is ticking.
Yeah. The pig radar is tracking.
We have a lock.
Firing phasers. Setting disruptor to burn. Setting phasers to maim. He's like, oh, I should have chosen the fish. Gravity is going up. Did something just fall off? Oh god! Someone like panics. If I could be honest with you, this has gone extremely well for the first
Firing
time.
time has been 5 minutes. The ship will now coast for 51 minutes before the adaptation maneuver begins.
Ooh.
60 miles above the Earth.
A dangerous space pencil!
Experience the sensation of weightlessness for the first time.
That guy's losing the shit in the back there. Like, oh god! Oh, that's my pencil, sorry.
63.9 miles. Distance from launching pad, 705 miles. Velocity, 18,460.
It's also very calm for people that have just gone into space.
4 minutes of arc. Plane of your ellipse of ascent incline, 66 degrees, 32 minutes, 2 seconds to plane of equator. Out.
51 minutes later and halfway around the world, the rocket
Dun
has
dun
coasted to a
dun!
maximum altitude of
Communists!
1,075 miles.
Oh, up!
Its speed
He's
has
going into the
risen
ball
to
turret! Jesus Christ!
1,770 miles per hour.
Oh!
He must now take a bearing on 2 fixed stars. He will line up the ship for the adaptation maneuver.
He's looking for stars with what looks like a fucking tank periscope? God damn! They were wow, these scopes are great. Why are their optics so good? Oh, we ripped them out of a Hetzer.
The ship and
Dive,
crew are
dive!
coasting freely and silently through space.
I love the little like ball turret for like the machine, the idea of a machine gun thing. You can see that the idea was like, hey, and if this all works out, you just strap a few like 50s in there, and that's a space gun.
Continents are reduced to simple patterns of light and dark. Great cloud formations will appear as small patches of snow. Evidence of man's existence is almost invisible. Large cities can be seen only with the aid of...
He's gonna bomb the fuck out of him. Click. Ah, there.
Geologists will make studies.
Cuba. Missiles are a go, Captain.
The science of astrophysics.
Send Castro, my love, communist dirtbags.
Planets, unhampered by atmospheric disturbances.
We found the Nazi space base. Ah, I don't know what planet that was previously, but anyway.
Will benefit from tests conducted with new types.
Space medicine. They keep saying that like it means something.
Hold on. This one?
Yeah. What's that supposed to be?
Mars.
Is it Venus?
Mars.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Don't remember Mars having highways.
Yeah.
The ADMEC. My apologies. I forgot about the Adeptus Mechanicus.
Space medicine will benefit from tests conducted
Again,
with new types.
space medicine. I don't think they know what that means. I'm in a deep sea diving suit, Commander, and I'm going out for a walk. I may be some time.
Observations by the crew will lay the groundwork for
I'm also going to eat a dog's liver.
space station, and will add to our knowledge of many sciences.
She's going to become a bungee cord. Number 6 here, the most expendable member of the crew. I've hanged myself with the cord out in space. Thank God there's no oxygen, otherwise I'd be dead.
At a pre-calculated
Hostile
time,
communists!
The rocket's path will cross that of the instrument carrier, sent into space a few years
Slap!
That was closer than what most...
Yeah. It just has a hammer and sickle spray painted on it.
Spaceship has made 11 revolutions around the world.
Revolution!
Now
Careful!
time to
That's
make
dangerous
the return
words.
trip.
You wait until McCarthy
Engineer
hears
releases
about
the
this.
third stage. It'll be left circling.
So he hears the word revolution and goes, Communists!
Here we go,
The
here we go.
navigator checks the ship's
Up
position
hits a
for
periscope.
firing. 1 minute to
Like
go.
the left one's a Stug periscope and the right
Firing
one's...
timer is set. The ship is lined up, so the blast of the motor will be against its forward motion. This will slow the rocket's speed and cause it to begin its long glide back to Earth.
Is that a euphemism?
Now moving 1,000 miles per hour slower. After coasting halfway around the world,
Only.
the rocket will leave the vacuum of space and sweep into the upper layers of the Earth's atmosphere, where air friction will gradually reduce the rocket's speed. When the ship drops to an altitude of 50 miles, air pressure will build up on the control surfaces. For the first time in the entire flight, the captain will be able to fly the rocket as a normal plane.
I don't know what he's doing with that yoke, but it doesn't look like it's working.
Until the ship glows cherry red at 13
Cherry red.
degrees. The double hull and refrigeration keep the crew from
I love the suspense that's going on, but so far not a thing has gone wrong. Like, you're speaking like this could be life or death, but at no point have we seen anything go wrong. You've got no proof that something bad could happen. We're launching star flares! Enemy aircraft inbound! The Japanese are back! That son of a bitch Horton has made his new dastardly fiend, says North Chop from his bunker.
Mission completed. Man has taken his first great stride forward in the conquest of space. His next goal will be the exploration.
It's a noble cause, and I'll back it 100%. But the conquest of space sounds very grandiose for trying to go like outside our bubble. You know what I mean? We're literally trying to leave our lane, and they're just like the conquest of space, and it's just like no, we're just trying to leave our atmosphere. It's a lot simpler. Thanks, Kimball. Sorry you had to wear that suit for that long. A lot of Kendalls and Kimballs and Carndalls and... Ah, it's Claude. Claude did it with the coats. Aren't you Dattlebum? Department of Defense. Where's Space Force, huh? God! What's wrong with them?
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
Disneyland, Mars and beyond, yeah.
We'll do that a little later.